like, wow.
It is feeling over here.
I guess I'll start zoom. Or maybe not.
Speculation. Impulse speculation. Pressure speculation.
I got the same computer.
Yeah, that's my computer.
I got like I just kind of like stuff.
Let's go look at JC's food track.
No, please don't.
Wow, wow. What is that? That's not supposed to go in there.
Meetings.
Mine's just bigger.
JC, get a USB drive. They're only paying to $60 for the cheap one. Guatemala.
It's not Obamacare like that. It's telemarketers, man.
Share this time.
Same.
Okay. Now go ahead and bring up Xcode.
I have life insurance. Zero's USB, Zero's USB, Zero's USB, Zero's USB. So many projects from Zero's USB. Moment, Zero's USB.
There it goes.
At least it's not all over here.
Now I created an example program here to show some of the different elements. I'm not sure if I have the solution yet to the problem a couple of you are having last time, but I'll show you where it's at. So, because I looked and you haven't uploaded your projects yet, right?
What?
For iOS app development. Yeah, because I looked because I was going to download one of them that was broken, but you didn't have any out there. So, if you bring up one of your old ones, you'll probably be able to check this. Now, over here, if I click the this button right here, over on the right side, it tells you, if you click this little circle with an arrow on it, this tells you the connections you've made. Remember how we hit the control and drag and drop it? This is where it's at. So there's the connection I had for click it. This is the one for slide it. And this was a touch up inside and then view controller of the button click. If I look at my code, these are the connections I've made here. And looks like I got an extra one there that I deleted. I was playing with date picker, but down here under my button click, I was playing with the slide it. You were asking about slide it the other day.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look at that. If you want to go ahead and create an app, single view. Assume at least one of you will break, so I'll be able to actually look in your computer. Doesn't matter. Actually, let me start one from scratch too. So yeah.
I made one. That's my tool. Measure to.
Will we get time to work on that project from Tuesday?
Yes, and I'll review the slide.
Okay. Because I kind of forgot what we were doing.
We were resizing switches.
Yeah.
Although we probably can figure it out from what we just saw in Android Studio.
Yeah.
Same principle. Okay, let me start a new one so I'll be in the same place as you. Okay, file new project. Okay, choose single view app, click next, give it a name. I'll just call mine testing.
16s.
That's what's my
Now click
I
create.
can wear like.
It's currently open.
That's where it goes.
What have I done? Let me close what I have.
Like my D's, that's where it falls. The D's I wear.
There we go. I do file new project.
Do you have other issues there? You have to just go with the same one across the board.
Then testing.
Sometimes.
Great. Now say replace. Okay, so everybody should be here.
Yep.
Okay, let me minimize that. And maximize that. You click your main storyboard. And we're going to continue looking at different components here. Oops. So I'm going to scroll down. And see, we got a button here. So we'll need a button. We'll also need a text field. I guess might as well do this kind of the same example as what we did in the other class. We'll add a switch. And then we'll add another text field, although a label would probably work just as fine. We'll add another text field. And we're going to enter in a value in here. And if you click the switch and click the button, it'll go ahead and add $100 onto it. Now, Android Studio, remember, had a text that went along with this. You can add a label in front of it if you want. Double click the label and say add 100. You could even put a label. A label is text that doesn't change. Typically it doesn't change by the user. You can change it programmatically. And I'll double click this and I'll say number. Double click the button and I'll say calculate. And this is where we're going to put our answer. So maybe I'll call it total. Double click on that, total. Now I'm going to bring up my code. I'll shut off some of these panels so I have a little bit more room. You can see it better. Remember, we have to set up our variables first. So I'm going to click this text field here, hold down my control key, drag and drop it right below the UI ViewController. Give it a name, like num1, or this is a text field, isn't it? TF underscore num1. Click connect. I'm going to click and drag this. So I do Control.
They turned on Australian scrolling, so everything's backwards.
And then I'll name this switch. So SW underscore add 100. It really doesn't matter what you name it as long as it's a valid name because it puts a name right here. So it's easier to reference when you're coding. And I want to drop on my total. So I click that, hold on my control, drag it, and call this TF text field total. Now for our calculate, we'll hold down our control and drag and drop it right here below or above the last curly brace. You want to make sure you change it to action. And I'll call this button click. And type, I want to change to UI button. And then click connect. I'm curious how many of you are broke now.
Well, it's phone always been broke.
Okay, I got it.
So if you run it,
Build succeeded. No.
yours broke?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so mine.
There's something wrong with this program.
Let me see.
It's just like last time.
No.
I didn't see you last time.
If you go to Xcode and click the lines here. I remember the line deal. Oh yeah, turn the panels back on. I'm curious what yours says in this regard. If you click the button, what does that say right up there? Does it say touch up inside, view controller, button click?
Yes.
Now if you click total, does it say TF underscore total to view controller?
Yes.
If you click the add 100, does it say SW underscore add 100 to view controller?
Yes.
How about number? Is it
Yep.
strange?
Indeed. But indeed, let's pick them.
I'm sure I'm not getting the same MacBook this time.
What I did from every.
You're not.
Why does it work with something more strange? Let's see.
What's this movie like? Wait, does it say the guy that
Doesn't look
does
online.
this
Oh yeah.
cowboy on
Such a view controller button click.
You don't know.
Sit down.
And in there.
I am not.
Dude, I should say that. Like, I'll be back next year so that you just forget about that. Like, literally.
Oh, little baby JC didn't eat.
I think Brody won't get me anything if I grab the charger. I'm going to knock on the window and sorry about the charger. I need to text him. I'm gonna be nice.
I asked him about the Twizzlers.
Sorry about that.
Now this isn't good.
No, not at all.
The trophy. Drag and drop it. Doesn't have that there.
We need serious? I'm just blowing up this running people
See, it looks like it's here again. See, and I click that and see how it looks like it's attached to that. But if I come here, I delete that. Oh wait. Okay, now let's. Okay, so it's back. Well, it's easy to get rid of the error now, but let's see if we can attach it. So click here. Oops. I'm still running. Okay, so click here. Maybe. Well, then my control. Little circles there again. Action. Button, click. User interface button, click connect. So I see my connection's been made here.
I can't even my mouse. He's already typed a long message. Oh! Borrow for an hour at school when we get back. Sure.
We'll play with it. You're now set up for that connection. It could be that you'll have to delete the connection each time and re-add it. That still doesn't give the solution of why it's occurring, because you're following the exact same steps as me. At least we know how to fix it now. So that's it. We're making progress. Now you can actually run your apps. Okay. Let's see. Okay, we got our connection made. So I'm going to go back to my code. Turn that back on. Main storyboard. And code. So now we're down here at our button click. And we want to retrieve the value that's in our first text box. And we call that TF underscore num1. So we're going to lit. Actually, maybe. The what? Well, we're going to set up a var. Set up here. Set up what?
Yeah.
The var? We will. I'll go ahead and put that first, because you're right. We might as well go ahead and put our total. And I'll say it's a double. And then I'm going to lit the amount equal to double, and then TF underscore num1 dot text exclamation. Now we're defining total because that's going to be our total bill, or total amount. And then we let amount equal to the double. This is retrieving what's put into that text field. Now we want to do a check on that switch. So if we do if SW underscore add 100 dot, which one do you want to think I want to check? Is on. What was the? Is that what it was in Android Studio, or was it just checked? Okay. Same principle. And then I come down here. I want to put beginning curly brackets, closing curly brackets. So if it's on, then I want to add 100 to amount. So amount is going to equal to amount plus 100. There. Well, that's somebody's a lit, so I have to lit.
Oh. Pay for it. Nope, cannot assign value. Says you can't assign amount to
I think that's work with the exclamation there. We'll see.
Put an exclamation point in front of amount before the what's happening.
Uh-huh.
And after it looks like it's working.
Oh, that's interesting.
But then I have
change let to variable to make it mutable.
Oh wait a minute, what am I doing? We
So
want
it says to
we want to
change-
figure what? We want to figure our total, don't we? Okay. Yeah, the amount didn't make any sense what I was doing.
I have a couple
questions.
my questions just that I have two code errors.
Oh, that's okay. We're not done yet. They might disappear. That's the thing with you have these errors pop up, and then they'll disappear once you finish writing all your code.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's on, we're going to add 100 to it. So then we want to put that back out to the screen. So we're going to say our tf underscore total dot text equals to, and then we want to do a string and total. Variable total never used before. What do I need here? Exclamation. Oh, I gotta set equal to something. Liam, you remember earlier how it gave us an error in Android Studio?
Because of that, we didn't set it equal to something.
Right, we didn't set it equal to 0 initially. Because if this if statement's never done, total is never set.
Right.
So the IDE, this Xcode, is trying to intelligently stop us from screwing up. So that's why you initialize it to 0 to begin with and get this. Now that might not be right, because this implies if it's not on, that your total is going to be 0. So maybe you want your total to initially be equal to amount. So maybe total is going to equal to amount, and I don't know if I need an exclamation there or not. Let's see. Yeah. Which means I can get rid of this total equals 0. Now I'm going to run this, and I'll come look at any errors you might have. First, I want to get rid of my own errors.
If this is walking.
So I put 500, and let's say I shut this off. I click calculate, it tells me 500. If I turn that switch on and click calculate, it tells me 600.
Cool.
Let's see.
If you just put 500, it just does a 0. That's weird.
Total double, the amount equals to double. Oh, you don't got enough TXT on there.
Is it broken?
Nope.
It's not like new problem.
It's like one of his first apps he could have run. He's probably happy today.
I'm happy that things are actually going my way for once.
This is just crying. Yeah.
I actually would actually laugh at myself if I actually grabbed like that.
See up above, I initialized total amount.
Liam, to be honest, whenever it said, get to know your parents and never know what you'll lose, I actually teared up. Just to be honest. I was like, oh, I was like, gonna ask Brody about those scissors again.
Huh?
I already asked Brody. I was like, "How about those scissors?" And he just looked at it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, "Brody, how about the tricycle?"
Now, just to show you one more, did yours work,
Yeah.
JC?
More.
Okay. Just to show you one more component, and then I'll give you the project, and also you can work on the projects from the other day. So we want to go back to our design.
So I'm just trying to get myself back over here.
We'll look at all these eventually. You see there's a slider. You were asking about the slider.
Yeah.
If I click and drag that over here, by the way, you don't have to put everything on a button. And we're going to quickly go past that. But if you wanted to code behind them clicking this add 100, you could do that. You just do the same way. You click it, drag it, and drop it down here, and it creates your beginning header information for your procedure. Okay, so I got this. Now I'm gonna go to my code. Shut off the design, and I'm gonna hold down my control and drag that and drop it. And this is up in the definition section. And I'll call this slide underscore number. Just give it a name.
Did we make it an action or anything?
Nope. I mean, you could, but for what we're going to do, we're not going to. We're just going to go down to our button click, and then we're going to access that. Well, I need to probably print the value of it somewhere. So let me go back to my design, and I'll drop on another text field. You know, that should be kind of cool to, maybe we play with that after we do the button. Put the code behind it such that when you change it, it updates the text field.
How do we do that?
There should be an action. We can code on that. But we'll worry about that later. Let's see. So I'm going to go back to my code. Shut off some of these panels. Okay, so I brought that in. I need to actually create a connection between this new text field. So I click it, hold down my control, drag and drop it with all my other definitions. And I'll call it TF underscore slide amount.
Yeah.
Now, I could have looked up in the user documentation, but I just started browsing through, and it's pretty obvious which one to use. For example, if I wanted to set that equal to my my text, if I do TF underscore slide amount dot text equals. Now I need to convert it to a string, so I did a beginning parentheses. And we called it a, what do we call it, a slide number. And then if you do a dot, you see different things you can have return. Maximum value, minimum value. So what do you think probably I'm going to look for?
Current value?
That's what I thought. I was looking for current value. But then look what I found.
Value.
Value. That's a lot easier than I was looking for current. It's like, where in the world is it? You know, and so you choose current value. I don't know if I need an exclamation or not. I don't think I do.
Spacing.
I guess no errors there. So let's run that now. Probably need to put a number here, otherwise it'll probably blow up. But if I do my slide here and I click calculate, see it's 0.643. Move it back here, click calculate, 0.24, and so forth. Now we'll play with that a little bit more, but that's how you can do it. The real benefit of that, though, probably is when you move it, that it actually updates this number.
Did I really get like a full on 0.5? I got like 0.5.
What did you just say?
That's to the far right, isn't it?
No, 0.5 is the middle.
Oh, 0.5 is in the middle.
Yeah.
Has someone managed to get rid of both the test field and the slide?
Got rid of them? You deleted them?
I have 0.5.
Oh.
If you go like in between, it's right in that's like 9%.
Now, I really want to put this maybe in another bit of code. See if we can figure out how to do that. So I'm going to grab this this right here, this slider. Let's try doing a control and moving it down below this brace down here. And I start running my emulator. Right. Okay. Let me stop that. Okay. Now, so I'm going to hold on my control and drag and drop this down here.
Different slider or the same slider?
Same slider. And I'll let up there, and this is going to be an action. Call it change slider, change underscore slider. And I change the type to UI slider, and I click connect. Now at this point, this should occur when they change it. In theory. So we're gonna copy this. Actually, what do I need? I think I just need this one line, isn't it? So I'm gonna copy that and I'll paste it down here. And let's see if that actually does work, or if it has errors. And I probably need to put a number here, otherwise it'll... Well, actually, I can just change this. See how when I'm changing it now, it automatically updates it? Yeah. And that's the way a slider should work, by the way. You shouldn't have to click a button each time after you do the slider. Whole point of a proper user interface is that everything has code behind it, not just one code behind just one button. Now we'll focus on one button for quite a while to get used to all the different, because we haven't even talked about the for loop or the while loop yet, and so forth. So we'll focus on one button to begin with, but again, think beyond that.
Can I see your code?
Uh-huh. Did yours break again?
No.
It's just not working?
I just did something.
So I forgot to ask if it was going to break every time you set up a connection, or just the first time.
Have you actioned the UI
Okay, so now are we, did you give us the thing?
It's actually going to be the same assignment. I want you to create a tip calculator. You can do it different ways. You know, button probably doesn't actually make much sense. If you put your number in here and you just have sliders, or the sliders switch. If you have the switch, you know, for 10%, 15%, 20%, and have the amount updated down there, you just have to have 3 connections for your code down below. You know, where you can do a control, drag, and drop it 3 times for each one.
I'll probably need help with that.
And then also the projects from last time also.
And do you remember what that was?
That was to create an app, your choice, where you use sliders.
Use sliders.
So it's kind of your choice, but you should have an if statement, where you're checking it.
Didn't we just introduce sliders?
No, we did last time.
We introduced switches last time.
Switches is what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
I was like, I'm glad I didn't. I did.
Oh, okay, I figured out my problem.
You figured it out?
Yeah. I didn't choose action or whatever, and then the slider, the iOS slider. Stuff on that. There we go.